Hello and good day. Good morning from me right now. It's pretty early in the day. Yeah, we're gonna be just doing the same thing, working on the aerial training 30-day challenge. Let me know in the comments how many days you've managed to do in a row. I think this is only like day 4, so I mean, most people are probably doing it. Anyway, today we are gonna be covering just holding jump and the air roll after that a little bit. So yeah, let's just get warmed up. Hope everyone's having a vibing day. My day's going pretty good. No complaints yet. Just had breakfast and I'm done working out, and yeah, so I'm just warming up right now. Feel free to warm up with me if you want. Yeah. Thanks again for everyone that's been tuning in with this series and just vibing. Do appreciate. So since I'm thinking about it now, what's let me know your favorite little breakfasts down in the comments. Normally I don't eat breakfast, but when I do, it's normally a little heartier, I think. I normally just wait for lunch and kind of do that. About to feel warm, I think. Feeling pretty alright. After this, the last step we're going to be really focusing on is feathering boost. And then after that, we're going to start getting into some more, a little more advanced fundamentals for air dribbles and such. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I know I am. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty warm, so I think I'll start kind of just explaining the holding jump and the air roll kind of after that. Before we've covered just the setup, rolling it towards the wall, following the speed, and getting that pop. And now we're going to be focusing on just getting that good jump and then the slight correction to air roll, which is really important with the setup because you want to be able to set your nose up right as quickly as possible as well. That way you can just start your air dribble without any complications. Just a few examples of that there. So what we're looking for, you guys should kind of have the setup down by now. So we're going to get the pop, and slightly delayed is kind of how I normally do it when I jump. I kind of wait just a moment before I actually jump off. Do that again so you guys can see. Feel free to slow down the video if you want. But I like to wait a second because once I pop the ball, it starts to float up, and I like to drive a little bit with it. That way I can just kind of get a better kind of float up to the ball, you know, without having to use too much boost. Don't worry about scoring it or anything right now. Right now, the only thing that's important is just kind of working on making sure you have a solid setup, getting that jump and that tiny air roll. Make sure not to air roll too much. Just get used to kind of air rolling about like that. You only need to do a little bit. As after the ball pops off the wall, it's not that far away. So it's just one little tap, and then you also use the left analog stick to kind of reroute yourself. So it's kind of changing your axis where your nose is pointing. It's good to get used to these kind of like little micro adjustments, because the more and more you play, the more advanced everything gets. The micro adjustments get more and more important because you want to be making your adjustments as quick as you can, not needing to recorrect, and be able to get directly into the position that you want to be in. Remember not to worry too much about actually scoring right now. Right now we're just kind of working on the basics, getting that pop, getting that jump, getting the air roll down, and just trying to follow the ball. Remember, it's important to follow the speed of the ball as well. Also, don't feel like you have to rush at all. And don't do like I do and only practice on one wall. Make sure you're practicing on both walls. My air dribbles, as you can probably tell, are a little weak from the other wall here, this one. It's because I'm not really used to using air roll right, like this. So it just gets kind of weird for me getting that set up, but it's just something you got to work on. And I took my time to work on it. I decided not to work on it, so now we're kind of suffering a bit, but we're getting it down slowly. Remember to practice different angles too, just kind of like straight up here. Or you can even do the backwards one. You kind of go up this way. Just work on and focus on getting that little tiny micro adjustment for that air roll. Sometimes you'll have to press your air roll as you're jumping, just kind of depends on the setup. The more advanced players can probably start doing actual air dribbles now if they want, limiting their boost, setting up double touches, you know, anything like that. Just as long as you're kind of pushing yourself slightly out of your uncomfort zone here. Even if that means just practicing on the other wall or practicing with another air roll, it's still gonna be good for you and help you improve. Sometimes I like to just catch the ball, let it fall, and try and get it set up again on the other wall. The controller overlay has been helping everyone too. I think it's nice to kind of be able to see how the controller is moving. We get to practice the weird angles that make you feel uncomfortable, because it's really important to work on all aspects of your gameplay. Me personally, this touch right here is really hard. It takes a few tries for me to even really get it. But that's why we practice these things, just because they're important to. So don't be afraid to try and toggle ball cam on and off. I prefer to have it off when I set up, but some situations you'll want to keep it on. It just kind of depends on how you're playing. Right here I've got it on. Here I turn it off because it gets a little uncomfortable. This kind of depends on how you're setting it up. Remember to follow through with the ball, kind of let your momentum carry you through the ball. You don't want to have too high momentum though. You just hit the ball away. It's good just to practice matching that speed. Isn't something you have to rush to try and learn either. It's just take your time. Little pop, hold jump, get your air roll to where you want it to be. More advanced players can just hold air roll the entire time if they want, because it's a good way to practice as well. And still not posing any sort of difficulty for you, try and air roll the other way. As you can see, my setups from this wall really aren't that good with it, so that's something I want to try to work on. I personally think it's good to be comfortable with air roll left as well as air roll right. It's because, you know, some situations it's slightly more efficient to do the other air roll. Yeah, it just feels so uncomfortable for me, so that's something that I'll probably be working on the more and more this series goes on. Hopefully you guys will see a little bit of improvement from me there in regards to that. I'm pretty comfortable with air roll left. It's crazy how one little change like that from direction left to right can kind of change just how your brain really reacts to something. It's kind of interesting. Air roll, get your setup. If you're struggling with air roll, don't worry about it, just keep practicing it, it'll eventually come. It just takes a little bit of time. Make sure you're still focusing on your setup as well, because it's important. By the time we go on to the next section, you guys should have a pretty good understanding of just the setup by itself. We're getting into some of the more advanced techniques. Getting a little quicker. But we don't have to worry yet. Again, we still have a ton of time until the end of the series. Definitely feel free to practice this for more than 20, 30 minutes a day if you can, you know. I remember when I was first working on air dribbles, it took me a little while to get it really down, but I'd try and spend like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 minutes a day at least on it. Some days I'd try and sit down and spend a few hours on it. Also good to note that sometimes the ball, if you hit it too quick, it'll kind of pop off the wall here, and so the setup will get a little janky. It's good to make sure you're practicing these kind of awkward ones where they come off the wall a little bit. So work on getting your pop from different areas on the wall as well, and try and see if you can get your air roll to kind of match that. that's about all that we really need to cover today as far as the setup goes, the pop and the air roll. Remember to keep on working on it. Do your best. Look at what maybe isn't working, look at what is working. I don't really recommend trying air dribbles in games until you can start getting like at least 1 in every, maybe like 8 in every 10. You don't want to mess up too often because you're not going to get the opportunity to do air dribbles a ton. So when you do it, you want to make sure that you're going to be able to really capitalize. Because if you miss your aerial in any game mode, really, you're going to kind of your team or yourself in a worse position. It's going to take a little while to recover. You're going to be low on boost, things like that, you know. Anyway, just remember, if there's anything to take away from this episode, it's just knowing how to get that little tap off the wall, holding jump, just feathering your boost. We'll go more into detail with feathering boost tomorrow, but for now, I think that's going to be it. Hope you guys had fun practicing with me. I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow, and we'll on the next one. All right, peace.